after a divorce, and after the passing, untimely passing of my father. So that's how I became a writer. And here I am.
From dating to relationships, from sex to love, from Christianity to politics, from darkness to light, you have now entered into the real zone. Welcome to Conversations with Trent, where no topic of conversation is safe from discussion. Now, here he is, Mr. Epic himself, Trent Williams.
What's going on? What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another podcast, Conversation with Trent and Company. With the lovely Shannon and my guy Nick out of Memphis, Tennessee. We're speaking on love after betrayal. What happens with love after betrayal? We'll be talking to Shannon and Nick here in a second. Let's bring those guys in real quick. What's going on, Cookie Lady? What's going on?
Hey, good evening. Glad to be here tonight.
Good stuff.
Nothing going on but some bacon. Bacon as always.
There it is. What's going on, Nick?
What's going on, brother? What's going on, y'all?
Can't call it my spoiler, bro. Can't call it my spoiler. We're talking about love and betrayal, man. The very interesting comments backstage. Found it to be very interesting with some of the things that you had to say, Nick, about betrayal and about different situations. So I'd love to hear you go a little further on those comments. But yeah, what happens after love, man? What happens after betrayal, first of all? My question is, do you stay after the betrayal? Would you stay after the betrayal? How do you find love after betrayal? There's a ton of things that come to mind as far as betrayal. And betrayal comes in many, many forms. Not just infidelity. It comes in a ton of different forms.
Right.
What's a cheat? What's considered a cheat? Is cheating a form of betrayal? It's a good question. So any of you guys ever been betrayed before? Have you guys actually walked with Judas and someone walked beside you while stabbing you in the side?
I will say that not only have I been betrayed, but I guarantee that I've betrayed others as well too throughout my time.
Okay. Shan?
In romantic relationships, not just any relationship, right?
It could be romantic, it could be friendships, whatever. Betrayal.
I know, but I'm just trying to figure out what context we're looking at.
Let's start with romantic.
So yes, I have been betrayed in romantic relationships. I can't say that. Yeah, I think I have the betrayal. Yes, I have. One comes to mind.
Gotcha.
Good self-awareness. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you can't heal and grow if you don't know. Right? You gotta know yourself.
There's also the other question that comes to mind. How do you find love after betrayal? My belief is you don't. Love finds you after betrayal.
Ooh. Explain
on that.
Meaning, think about it. Betrayal can inflict a ton of pain on us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with that pain comes insecurities, sadness, deep depression, everything that the person carry on. If they don't have the tools to actually get over that hump, if they don't have the tools already, it's going to be a very tough battle when they bring in someone else into their life.
Yeah.
So they're going to be dumping all that mess onto the next person.
Yeah.
So you're not supposed to even find love after betrayal. Love finds you. That way you that all your bags are clear, all your trash is taken out, everything's clear, and you're off to a fresh start. So you can't jump in a relationship and start another relationship on top of the trash that you left.
That's an interesting point, Shan. I want to say maybe you posted something either it was a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago. And forgive me where I'm going with this. I want to say it had something to do with betrayal or hurt or something. And I commented, and I was like that if I was to experience something like that, one of the first things that I would do is, seek therapy, right? Because I know for me, if I can't remember what the exact post, I just remember commenting on it. And I remember saying that I know for me, if I was in situations like that or been in a situation like that, I would, knowing me, I would judge myself and I would shame myself because I would be ever in a never so ending cycle as like, what did I do wrong? Like, why was I this way and things like that? And why didn't I? But it gets to a point in when you can ask yourself those many questions, but you have to realize that you are responsible for who you are as an individual, just as that person is responsible for who they are. And I think I said something along the way too, is that the second thing is that I would do is I would seek therapy, right? I would seek therapy around, having healthy models to getting over certain hurts and things like that.
Exactly. And that's a great point, Nick, because actually when I was going through my separation, which led to divorce, I'll never forget this guy, a friend of mine named Jason over in Michigan. And we'd go out for drink, talking. My ex-wife and his wife were colleagues and whatnot, what have you. So he kind of understood what was going on with the relationship. And he suggested a therapist. And actually recommended his therapist when he was going through marital problems. And that was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. Going and sit and talk to someone about problems other than a family member, other than a brother, other than a close friend, someone who has nothing to do with the situation, period.
Yeah.
So, in the African American community, they actually frown upon people going and get help, seeking help for that type of stuff. But it actually worked for me. It definitely worked for me. So I would recommend that. So yeah, you're right, Nick.
And I think too, like when it comes to, like you said, Brother Trent, betrayal can come in so many different forms. And I think like when we talk about infidelity, I often say when two people are getting into a relationship, you have to be very clear and explicit around what cheating is and what it involves, right? You have to make sure that two people understand, because I tell people up front, I have more female friends than guy friends. But just because I have more female friends than guy friends, that doesn't mean I'm out here like, you know what I'm saying? And some people were mature enough to understand that, some people weren't. But at the same time, too, I had to realize that some people have had experiences where they've been cheated on. And so I'm able to understand that, and I was able to understand that. But at the same time, too, when you getting into a relationship with someone and just defining what that is, because, someone can be confiding in you with information and it's just consensual, confidential information. Doesn't mean that there isn't cheating or anything. And vice versa. Some people, I often said, this is my last point, I often said that me having female friends, I am a better man because of my female friends. Because they have opened my perspective so much around, let me phrase this, seasoned and grown women. Let me phrase this. I've learned so much from seasoned and grown women to the point that it's like when things come up, it's almost like I somewhat know how to navigate through them because I have friends who will hold me accountable.
Okay.
Yeah, you need those kind of people around you.
This is true.
People around you to hold you accountable. But my question is, for those folks who actually online and listening, but like, would you even stay after betrayal, as far as romantic or what have you? Because if you stay, how do you handle it? Because you're still those 5 steps of grief and loss still going to take place within that betrayal if you stay. So you that's more trouble. That's more trouble. So you made a decision to stay and work it out, but you have to have the tools and understand the tools to get over the hump, past betrayal. You have to understand. You have to know it. And if you don't, you're pissing in the wind. Be honest with you.
Well, I feel like that you can. So this is me, and I feel like I'm very upfront and saying that that's a non-negotiable for me, right? And the reason why I say that is because I'm this way, and not that I expect everybody to be like me, but we have to also have to understand that being faithful isn't an outlier. Unfortunately, that it is today, but not an outlier, right? So let's be adults here. Two, I think that when it comes to if just say that I'll say this, I've never been cheated on, and I never cheated on anyone else, right? But I would say if that happened, I can be empathetic and compassionate to whatever experience that you have, but I'm still gonna choose me at the end of the day because and that's me, right? Like I can be empathetic, I can be kind, I can be compassionate to a lot of that. But also, my law is law at the same time too. If there's an understanding that we know that this is a non-negotiable, and you choose to break that, keep in mind you choose to break that, you gotta live with the consequences.
Well, I think we're gonna have to agree to disagree. Just like we can still have dialogue and love you with the love of the Lord at the same time. I just think you got to keep on living, and like I said backstage when we were talking before, I think I really hope that that's always the case with you. That somebody doesn't come along and cause you to stray or cause that other person to stray, and you have so much in you for that person. I mean, anything could happen. Life is very unpredictable, and none of us goes into a relationship with the expectation that someone's going to cheat on us or betray our trust and not be loyal to us. But I don't know many women who have not gone through a cheating episode with their significant other, whether it's been my straight friends or my non, or my gay friends. It happens at all levels. I've been cheated on more than once. Did I?
One second, Shan. I don't mean to. One second, so I don't mean to interrupt. My apologies. I got a listener from over from YouTube, Gino Fisher. What's going on? Appreciate you tuning in, man.
Hey, Gino.
Gino has a quote. Well, Gino's comment is, I wonder what bothers a person more about betrayal, the act committed or the feelings caused by the act. Because one of the biggest questions asked is, but do you love them? Why ask that?
Nope. You better love yourself.
That's a good question, Gino. Very good question. Why ask that? I'm with you 1,000%, Gino.
You better love yourself enough when to walk away.
Yeah, that's true. And sometimes it just depends on where we are with ourselves. But I think people stay for different reasons. I stayed, and eventually it didn't work out. But then we got back together, probably like 4 to 6 months afterwards, and it really didn't work out because I had not healed, or he had not worked to help me heal in the process of the first betrayal. And the second time we were together, he wasn't doing anything. He was changed, but I couldn't get past, in my mind, mentally, what I had experienced with him just those short months ago, because you hadn't really shown or proven yet to me that you were now trustworthy, so to speak. I think there was a little bit more to that, but yeah. The second time we broke up was the final time, and that was more so me, that I just was not secure in the relationship anymore because I hadn't addressed all the stuff from the previous time of being with that person.
Hey, let me ask you something real quick, Shan. So I hear what you're saying, and in spirit, I agree with it. Here is where I challenge those who've had pattern after pattern of someone cheating on them, right?
Mm-hmm.
If when someone has had the pattern, I'm not going to judge whatever reasons people stay. It's there. What I will say is that there comes a point in time, though, that there's trauma around that, and staying just because of the kid. I'm not going to judge anybody's reasons for what they stay, but staying for the kids, staying for anything that is unhealthy is unhealthy. Right. Mm-hmm. And I don't think people really understand the effects of what that does. It may not understand it right now, but some people may not understand what it does 2 or 3 steps down the line.
Yeah, Nick, again, that goes back to having the tools to know how to actually move away from a situation. So right. I was actually in that situation at one time before where I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the knowledge that I have now.
Right.
I didn't harness all those tools to actually get away from the situation. So I stayed for various reasons,
right?
Which a whole bunch of people, a majority of people, more than sure, stay for a number of reasons. But at some point, you have to have the tools, step back, have the wherewithal to step back from the situation and attempt to try and take the emotion out of it. Because folks tend to make emotional decisions when they're involving other people in that decision.
So let me ask y'all this. I'm gonna put y'all on the hot seat. Why did y'all cheat?
Oh, I didn't cheat. But I can tell you why I stayed.
You know what? We'll get to that right after the break.
Okay.
One of the producers is telling me to get to commercial, so we're gonna jump in this commercial real quick. We'll be right back, folks.
All right.
Thanks for tuning into Conversations with Trent. We will be right back with more conversation after these commercial breaks.
Check out the creative work of the author Trent Williams of www.taylorkennedymedia.com. Chapter of the Delta gives us a peek at his life-changing events. And if that's not enough, Trent tells you more about his brothers and his life through memoirs in his book, The Four Horsemen. His blogs and daily stimulating quotes are published in his book, Life's Little Addiction. And when you have a need of some human coaching of life and relationships, take a look at Conversations with Trent, Volume 1 and 2, and Conversations with Trent, Limited Edition. You will find his works available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all online book retailers.
Welcome back to Conversations with Trent. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're online and want to be a part of tonight's topic, you can do that by dialing 347-324-5327. Press the number 1 to get into the queue so that your voice can be added to tonight's conversation. Now, let's get back to the show.
Actually, a couple of ads there. That's actually tops and bottoms, sponsor for tonight's podcast, as well as every conversation this month and going into next month, is Tops and Bottoms, the official sponsor for the conversation itself. Good stuff in actually my books, Conversation with Trent, on the Taylor Kennedy platform, or you can go to taylorkennedymedia.com for all those books at Walmart, Barnes & Nobles, Amazon, or anywhere books are sold across the country, all over the world. Good stuff. And another client, the Hair Club. The Hair Club out of New Orleans. They'll be actually featuring their website here in about another 2 months or so. Good stuff. What's going on, Nick?
What's going on, man?
Bring Shan back in.
Oh, there I am. Oh, now you brought me back. Oh, you were hiding me. You were hiding me. Okay, it's okay.
That's why
I'm going to take this new cookie I made tonight and eat it right in your face.
Good. Well, you can't do that alone. You can't do that by yourself. I'll grab my cookie in a minute. But before we do that, we'll address your comments back to Nick, and then we'll address Gino's comments going forward. That's our viewer from YouTube. Again, appreciate you tuning in on through YouTube, Gino. Really appreciate that.
Oh, so my comment to Nick. So when I said I know why I stayed,
yeah,
and I look back. So if you've ever been married, well, you've never been married, but if you've been married and you're going through a separation or divorce, your friends always say don't get in a relationship right after you get divorced. What did I do? I got in a relationship right after I got divorced. Probably within like a 4 to 6 month period. Not the healthiest thing to do. So even divorce has its process of grief that you need to go through.
Yeah.
So I didn't properly go through that. So the person that I was with, there were 2 episodes There was a whole nother episode that made me get back with them. So the first one was I wasn't healed and I hadn't addressed the trauma of going through a divorce, right?
Mm-hmm.
The second one, when we reconnected, was that he was going through some life-changing things because of things that had happened to him since we had broken up. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to kind of right his wrong and just wanted to talk and apologize. And that was fine. And the very next day, my mother passed. So then I have that trauma.
Tough,
and I didn't want to address that trauma. So needless to say, we decided to, get back together during that point in time, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I know. So I totally agree with sometimes there can be areas or periods of trauma that haven't been addressed that you're going through that cause you to stay in those situations. But there are sometimes people who stay in those situations because they've been together, they've been with someone for so long, and there's several other factors, especially when you're a married couple, that causes you to stay together that are different if you're not married to that person and you don't have certain things invested with them, such as children, property, assets, all of those things.
Right. Actually, I can relate to why you stay, because actually over the last few years, as you know, Shan, and as everybody know now, that I lost my mother and my brother 2 months and 10 days apart. I was actually leaving a relationship at that time when all that happened.
Man.
And during the process of losing my brother, and then 2 months and 10 days later, losing my mother, 6 months later, I became paralyzed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still in that situation because of circumstances.
Wow.
The relationship had been over.
Yeah.
Because of circumstances, I found myself in that situation, and all the way down to being paralyzed and blind in the left eye.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally get it, Shan, what you're saying, how you make certain decisions for different situations. It depends on what type of traumas you're faced with and you're dealing with to make that decision. So sometimes you have to.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think too, even, I've never been married, but I can only speak to, again, I'm a very upfront and direct guy. So there's no punches back with me. What I always say is communication. Like, it boils down to communication, because
I think, Nick, honestly, and all jokes aside, I believe that once you put a couple of notches under your belt, your thought process on that will change. Because as far as cut and dry, everything is just done.
No. I will say this because here's okay. I equate it to this, and I think I heard Brother Rodney say it one time. We know when you're playing basketball, we know there's out of bounds and there's inbounds, right? So there's rules and regulations that happens in a game of basketball to facilitate in order for it to be a great game, right? There's a reason why there are fouls, traveling calls, and stuff like that, right? Technical fouls, all that, right? Boundaries and communication around those boundaries work the same way. And a lot of times we weren't taught this, right? But what I also say is too, that from speaking from a person, because I love myself, and I'm not on this, oh my gosh, this grand self-love tip, but what I will always say to anybody, that I will always choose me before.
You say that now, but let's talk about the emotions piece of that. When you mix emotions with that and making decisions, that's a whole different ball game, brother. It's a whole different ball game. But we're gonna get back to you, and we'll get back to you. Let's get back to Gino, because Mr. Fisher's going in. He's going in a whole bunch here.
Oh, okay.
I actually appreciate you from YouTube, Gino. Appreciate you, Mr. Fisher. Thank you so much. All right, here we go. Here's the second question. In 2021, man meets woman. They develop a relationship. Out of 100% probability, what is the percentage chance that a man will stay totally faithful? Give me real number.
They ain't gonna do it.
Gino, stop it. I need you to behave with this. Like tonight, don't do this on here, Gino. Behave tonight.
That is funny. Then he goes on to say, and when I say totally faithful, I mean he is only going to have sex with her, and he has that all in caps, for the rest of their lives. What percentage would you say totally faithful? It's a very low percentage, Gino.
What? Wait a minute. So we don't have a chance of y'all being faithful to us?
He said what he's saying. Yeah, come on, that's a very low percent. Come on, that's unrealistic. It's unrealistic to give him a high number. Come on now.
Here is what I will say to probably answer this question as intelligently as I can. I don't know the percentage, because I don't know every man, and I'm not going to
give us a percentage.
What I will say,
give us a percentage.
What I will say is that I know the men that I know. The men that I know have healthy marriages, healthy model of marriages, and things like that. That's what.
Let's dig a little deeper with Gino. Gino's
wait a minute, hold on. Before we go back to Gino, I'm just going to say, and I'm going to have to say this, Gino, and I mean not Gino, but Nick. Thank you. Sorry, I love you with the love of the Lord. Lord knows I love you with the love of the Lord. But I'm just going to have to go back to this. You don't know what goes on in a person's marriage for all purposes and intents. And I'm not saying that your friends are, but people can make shit up.
Well, we
can make it look real good on the outside. I was married. People were surprised that we were getting divorced because all they ever saw was what we wanted them to see. So never think that you know the ins and the outs of anybody's marriage or relationship, or the inner workings. And this one, you gonna just have to suck up. So I only got 32 years of age on this earth, and I ain't never been in no marriage.
Now, this is what the conversation with Trent is about. This is what the platform is about. Go ahead, call it out. Go ahead.
But I'm just gonna say you're gonna have to suck that one up, Nick. You're gonna have to suck it up.
Eat it, Nick.
Bible studies. Our kids are dressed in like stair-step twins. We doing this, we doing that. We on family vacations. We on couple vacations. We was the freaking black.
Gino has
the black.
One second, folks. Gino has a percentage number. 30% at best.
Where is he getting this from? This is what I'm saying. Here's
the crazy part. I'm agreeing with this guy.
But where are we getting this number from? Are we getting it from our experience?
Life, I guarantee you Gino's over 30.
Yes, he is. I know Gino's a very good friend. So yes, he is.
So this is what I say when people this is why we have to be very careful when we ask questions like this, because it creates narratives, right? It's true. We have to be very careful about I'm a numbers guy, so they can be manipulated. You can create narratives around that. What I will say is, yes, Shan, do I know that there are people out here who will dress some shit up just to make it look good? Absolutely.
Wait a minute. I could have said that and not been censored.
You said some people? I'd say 95% of social media, period.
Well, I will say this. For me, that's just a show. Right, I can only go by and thinking about that is a small microcosm of the world. There's 7 billion people in the world, right?
Absolutely.
So if there's 7 billion people in the world, and we're only magnified by maybe 5%, if that.
You said
5%. Is this what we're saying?
That's the number that you're saying? I said 95. I said 95.
All right, no. But if there's 7 billion people, right?
I said on social media. Social alone.
Right.
These people I'm with Shan on that. They will dress things up.
Right. But anybody will do that. Anybody could create a life for themselves. Anybody can do that. I agree with you there.
I like this guy Gino. Hold on, he's going in again. I like this guy Gino.
I'm getting this number from divorce.
All right, Gino's 48. I'm a genius. I knew he was gonna be in his 40s. Okay. Where is that now? Okay, he says he's 48 and getting this number from divorce statistics and reasons. Finances and infidelity are the top reasons. You get it?
So let me ask you all this. Okay, now I will say that I do know people who have been divorced, right? And what I typically have heard is, honestly, from what I've heard, infidelity may have been third on the list. Finances.
What book are you reading? What are you?
Finances was number one, and 2, Incompatibility was number one was finances. 2 is incompatibility. Infidelity has been 3rd.
Because nobody wants. Listen, the reason why it's so low on there. No one wants to be known as a cheater. No one wants that. No one wants to be shamed into that. No one wants to be shamed to that. But I guarantee you that number's a little higher. But let me ask you this though. So this begs the question. Again. This begs the question. If a person is self-aware enough to know that they aren't disciplined in certain areas, why do it? Here's where I'm going with this. It's like I'm saying for a week, I've been working out, eating right, and stuff like that. And yes, I agree that we all have areas where we're more disciplined than others, right? Mm-hmm. Time management is a discipline. Being productive is a discipline, right? So what I'm saying is, what is literally stopping some people from having the awareness to know that this pattern is undisciplined and it's unhealthy?
What pattern are you referring to specifically?
People who are serial cheaters. Like, there is a pattern, because when it boils down to it, people cheat for different reasons, but what it goes back to is somewhere along the way, someone doesn't feel understood.
Have you ever been cheated on, Nick?
No.
How do you know?
And I say that with if I had a Bible.
How do you know, Nick? How do you know?
Because all the partners that I chose except for one are very sound.
How can you possibly say, Nick? How can you possibly say that you've never been cheated on?
I've never been cheated on.
How do you know?
Because there's trust.
I trusted my husband.
But there's trust.
I trusted him enough.
Gino's going back in. Let's go back to Gino. I like Gino.
Nick. Keep on living, baby. Keep on living.
I gotta say this. There was trust, and there was nothing that we didn't. There was the openness for us to say who we hung out with, who we didn't hang out with.
Oh, baby. Okay. Hold on. Let me tell you something about
we'll have another one. 1 second. We'll have another comment. Look like it's coming from YouTube. K White. I think I know who that is. I'm not sure, but comment in the comments. I think that's Michael's little sister. I'm not sure, but comment and let me know if that's you or not. But she says, and finance is number one because it's easier to save face by giving that as the reason. Good quote.
So, I mean, that could be that could be, but I do believe finances a lot of times can be the reason. But back to the thing about women. Let me tell you something, Nick. I'm a woman. I was born a woman. Let me put that disclaimer out there, because sometimes you got to ask, and I live in the A, so you got to ask certain things nowadays. So the cavities of a woman's heart are many. There are things we can hold stuff that you would never ever know, and we're so like, I'm gonna tell you this: women cheat better than men.
Amen to that. I'm glad somebody agreed to that.
And every time, because you will. We can hold. You may think you know a woman, but our heart has so many cavities, so many spaces. Hold on, where we hold different things. You can never say, and if you're a mathematics person and even a person of science, you can't say with 100% of certainty that you know anything about what another person's actions were unless you were with them 24/7 every day, Nick. Let's be honest and admit that. Right? Let's just be honest and admit that. We want to trust, and I'm not saying that they did anything, but I'm saying let's leave room for the possibility. You got.
I can't.
1 second, folks. 1 second. We'll go back.
You don't know.
Analogies
hold on, and if that's what you seriously think, Nick, you don't know women. You really don't.
I know healthy women.
Okay, 1 second.
Nick, everybody's not healthy. You want always.
Time out, folks. Time out. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second.
Hold on. Healthy is. What is healthy? What defines healthy? Everybody's thing. You could have dealt with some women that you felt were healthy, and I meet them, I'm like, oh, that chick a little low. It's everybody's personal perspective. Just like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Some people think Flavor Flav look good. I'd have never been on that show trying to.
I have to acknowledge this guy. Hold on 1 second. I have to acknowledge the guy, K. White. Mr. White, my apologies. I thought you were someone else.
Oh, that's Mr. Character.
Mr. White is a 46-year-old. Okay, he says that men are worse at cheating because of their ego. I totally agree with that.
Yes.
We have to boost to someone. Okay. Kind of. I got you. I conquer something. Okay, good. I got you. I got it. Good.
But I would pose the question back to the people who are commenting and ask them: do you know? Is there a way for you to know with 100% certainty that any woman that you were with?
Chad, I think you could open the chat box up on your end. You could actually respond to them from there.
Right, but Shan, here's what I'm also saying too. If someone, like most of the people I dealt with had integrity, right? So
Nick,
but I'm saying, but
brother, I love you, but come the freak.
I'm only speaking from experience, right? My experience has been most of my relationships. This is the reason why most of my relationships I have been friends with and great friends with my exes.
Are you in a relationship now?
No.
Why?
Why?
One sec. Let's get to Gino because Gino's asking to read the last comments.
Yes.
Let's get back to Gino real quick. Let me find it, Gino. Give me 1 quick second.
He said the same reason why people cheat on their diets, they cheat on their jobs, they cheat on their spouses. We have something weighing in on marriage and infidelity. It has never been married. We have something weighing in on marriage and infidelity that has never been married or cheated on. I'm looking for you. That last part.
Yeah, he's
say this. Keep on living.
Pretty much what he's saying. Pretty much what he's saying is you're weighing in on this and you haven't actually experienced it yet, which I could agree with him on that part.
But this is what I'm saying. We have set the standard so damn low that when a man is coming out and saying, this is what it is, I've never experienced this, I've never had this, there's resistance. That's a problem. I'm not saying I'm naive to it. I want to be clear. But what I'm also saying too is that is the standard so damn low?
It's not that it's a standard.
Nick, for you to throw out there, one second. Nick, for you to throw out there and say that you've never been cheated on, come on now. Come on, brother.
I could call him up right now.
Shit. Who's going to admit to being cheated?
Wait a minute. Hold on. Do you think if one of my exes called me up and asked, "Did you cheat on me?" that I would be like, "Yeah, I was cheating on you the whole time." Are you crazy? Are you on dope or dog food, as my country aunt would say?
But Shan, what I also said too.
I'm just saying that.
What I'm also saying too is that even if it didn't work out romantically, there's other factors. There's other factors of why it didn't work out romantically, right? At the end of the day, when the relationship is built on truth and is built on integrity and things like that, there's just now those are the people I deal with. So
here's the thing.
So we all deal with a bunch of liars and scam artists. That's what you're trying to say?
No. I'm not. See here.
You just said that's the people I deal with. So that is the only way that we don't deal with them.
I didn't say that.
Let me tell you something. I would never throw out there that either of my ex-wives ever cheated on me. I don't know that for sure. I mean, I traveled 95% of the time in the relationship, so I don't know what she did. I don't know what they were doing. She traveled. I asked my second wife travel, but
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't know that. So why would I even put that out there like that? I wouldn't know that.
I will just say from what has been, and I could call them up right now. And
Nick, they're not going to be honest. No one's going to be honest.
But this is what I'm saying. But they would have to be, right? Because the truth does come to light. At the end of the day, the truth does come to light, right? Or do we agree there? Does the truth come to light? Yes. What I'm saying is that here.
Hold on, Mr. White.
I would say a lot.
Nick, hold on a second. Nick, they interacting tonight, and I'm loving it, man. Mr. White that says that Nick is the reason why infidelity is third on the list. No one is willing to admit they are cheaters or have been cheated on until they have been outed.
But he's telling you.
I totally agree with him.
But see, that right there is a trauma-based experience right there. Someone who says that, and I mean,
why would you say that? That's not fair to just throw it out there. Why would you say that?
But why else would? Why else would someone logically say something like that? They've had to experience some sort of trauma in order for that.
Who hasn't experienced trauma, Nick?
Right, but this
Nick, who hasn't experienced trauma? That's what I'm saying. Who hasn't? All we're saying is, don't just throw a blanket out there and just say, "Hey, listen, I've never been cheated on, and I know this to be factual." Don't do that, man.
I'm just saying
that you know of. That you know.
You know what somebody else. You know what somebody else told you to be factual, and you accepted it as
exactly.
factual.
Exactly.
But hold on. Why would I? And why would anyone else be in a relationship? And I'm not saying you have to be naive. I want to be clear. But why would you then be in a relationship if that wasn't the case?
If what wasn't the case?
If you're feeling like you have to always can't trust your partner, and why be in a relationship?
Nick, understand nobody goes into that thinking that they can't trust the other person.
These are called life, man. Life, trials and tribulations. Everything happens.
People change.
Hold on, Gino's coming back. I'm liking these guys here, man. Hold on a second. Can I honestly say that I do not like any pastries made by tops and bottoms, edible creations?
You better not say that.
If I never had one, ?
Oh, that's good.
How can he honestly debate marriage and cheating if he's never experienced either? That's
what I can say. That's true. But what I can say is what I know as a grown ass man. What I do know is hold on. What I know is I know what I will deal with and what I won't deal with. And I tell people all day. I tell people all day long what the consequences are if that happens.
Actually, hey, Mr. White says something real, very nice and very, very subtle. Like he says, Nick, just say that you hope in caps. You hope you have never been cheated on. That's a better way to say that. That's a great way to say it. That's just like me. I hope my ex-wives haven't cheated on me. I hope, because I can't say for sure. I know what I was doing.
But you can't look at you and then expect everybody to be like
you. Do know, sir.
But this is the thing. You can't then interpret. Okay, and I'm talking to myself as well here too. We can't interpret what we do and expect others to follow suit because this is what we do. No, not everybody works that way, right? If in my mind, in a perfect world, in my mind, I believe most people are like me, very sound. Nick. But the world doesn't work that. Hold on, let me finish. The world doesn't work that way, and there have been experiences on friendship tips where he's been broken because of that. So I'm aware of that. What I'm simply saying is that when it comes to the cheating aspect of it, yes, I've never experienced it. But what I'm also saying too is that it is almost freaking mind-blowing when I tell people this, because it's almost like, well, we're like, oh my gosh, like, and I don't understand it, because it's like people act like having discipline and having, like, they act like
let me ask you a question, Nick. Let me ask you
the discipline to be able to work on certain things with yourself.
Let me ask you a question, Nick. How many serious relationships in your 32 years have you been involved with?
4.
4 relationships in 32 years. You had 4 serious relationships.
Right. Hold on, wait a minute. Did you have a serious relationship during the time that you were celibate? What was it? 8 years? 7 years?
Yes, I had 2.
Okay.
So you had 2
during that time. Yes.
Okay. And how long? Hold on. How long were they?
Let me see. One was 2.5. The other one was almost 4. Yeah.
So maybe they left for the lack of sex.
No, because they were in the same alignment that I was in.
Oh, so you broke it off. So what you're saying? You broke it off?
No, there was mutual.
Okay.
It had nothing to do. We were just incompatible in some areas, and there were some things for me that in one relationship that I wasn't mature enough in. And
Mr. White, he said that it was mutual breakup. They're asking,
right.
Why? How and why? Yeah.
Right. So that aspect of it wasn't the issue. A lot of times it was I would say that most of my relationship has had to do with the maturity aspect of either. The maturity aspect has been my either.
So did you select these young women? Did you select these women?
I did. So I take ownership of that, right?
But also understand, you're talking about somebody who was in their 20s. How mature are men? We already know that you guys are not anywhere near.
We don't become mature until 35.
Right. So
35.
You still ain't fully there yet, based on statistics.
35.
All I'm just gonna say is keep on living, baby. Keep on living. You're gonna believe and think what you want to. I can only tell you that you truly don't believe that you truly know the women yet. And I can tell you one thing: women don't really truly know themselves until they're about in their mid to late 30s, early 40s. When stuff really starts to click and they've had some experience, hopefully they've either been in a marriage or they've had children. Stuff is very different. Who I was at 35 is very different from who I am now.
It's 10 minutes, almost 10 minutes to the hour. And I want to get to the folks and talk to them about avoiding trauma when actually they're being betrayed and they've been betrayed, and actually how do they find love after betrayal. And I want to go back to that. So, because I'm more than sure some of our viewers out there are actually going through that at this moment. You don't find love. Love's going to find you. That's how you avoid piling stuff on top of it. Hurt after hurt. Adding someone else to the equation when you're still not over the betrayal or the person. So that's what I really want to talk about. We'll get off of that and talk about what happens. Do you find love? You don't find it. Love finds you.
Well, I don't think it's initially so much do you find love. Is it possible? Like is it possible, or how do you get yourself to a point where you can actually accept?
In my opinion, you have to go through the complete process of the five steps of grief and loss. You have to go through the entire process. And like I said on the last program, you're gonna go through that process at least 4 or 5 times. Right. 1 to 5, acceptance, hatred, taking them back, everything. You're gonna go through all that stuff, denial, everything, grief, everything. So you have to be positively sure that you're out of that. You've gone through the process before you even think about bringing somebody else into your life.
So how do you know when you've had enough time to go through that process? And I'll have to relate this back to you because I think you have probably the most.
It'll be on that.
How did you know that you were at a point?
Me personally, I just knew it was over with and it was time to move on. It took me 8 years to get over that. 8 years. Do you know how much roadkill I had in those 8 years?
Yeah.
I had a whole bunch of roadkill. A whole bunch of roadkill. I hurt a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
I inflicted pain on a whole bunch of women because of the pain that I was caused.
Right.
It took me 8 years to get past that.
I think a lot of people, when it comes to that, and I think last week, Shan, I was telling you about it, and I was like, how I used to be, I would get in one relationship, go straight to the next, and not really, and to Brother Trent's point, because when you don't really know how to properly grieve over a relationship, and you don't really know how, you don't have those tools that's there, you're going to go with what you know, right? And I saw where he said Nick has the perfect. See, this is what I'm saying.
Nick, hold on 1 second. Wait, Nick. All these guys here. See what up, Slash? I see you, brother. Slash is actually. Hey, I want to acknowledge Slash publicly on this. He helped me with the commercial for Shan's ads that ran. Actually, Slash was the producer that produced that track. Along with
Mark.
Yeah, that's Slash. I call him Slash. Yeah, Mark actually produced the track. put the commercial for you. So, hey, man, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, brother. That's Slash, yeah. So Mark says, actually Slash is Mark. So he says, can you sit at the adult relationship marriage table if you're sitting at the youngins?
That's just disrespectful, Mark. That's just
that's Mark. No, that's just Mark being Mark. I mean, no,
and it's disrespectful.
Him and Nick they kid all the time.
I know. That's just so disrespectful.
But I guess what I'm saying is that, you know, when it comes to, I don't believe in the idea of being perfect. What I do believe is owning my stuff, and I believe in being the healthiest version that I can be. And I challenge myself to that way. So therefore, others either they fall in line or they don't, right? And what I'm saying is that I've been very fortunate and because to have an experience that's much different than other people, because my heart goes out to people. I know we have, but I hear experiences from good men and good women, damn good women who have been seriously hurt by constant infidelity, right?
Right.
My heart bleeds at the same time too. I'm like, man, I couldn't imagine living with that pain, because it's like no matter how much of a trustworthy someone is, when you've had patterns of someone being untrustworthy, you're not going to see the world the same.
Agreed.
You're going to see the world in a much different lens And so it is challenging for those who've been in experiences where they've been cheated on and things like that, because again, they're going to see the world much different than how I see the world.
Let's get back to these comments, because these folks are actually interacting, and it's real good.
Wait, Gino, what was your question to me?
He said no. He wants me to read. He wanted me to read his comment.
Oh,
he wanted me to read, but Gino, she could actually see your comment, so you can go to response, Shannon.
I don't know what he's talking about. Read my which comment?
You don't see the comment? He has a
whole. I do. But which comment is he referring to?
I guess it's the one with the tops and bottoms edible. He said, "Can I honestly say I do?" Is it that
no, you can't honestly say that. But I do want to. Gino had a question in there about what bothers a person more about betrayal. Is it the act or the feelings caused by the act? And I would have to say it's the feelings caused by the act. And yes, I have been victim to asking, "But do you love her? Do you love her? Why would you do this?"
Exactly. That's a good question,
right? And I say that because I understand for men, the act of sex is not the same as it is for women, right? So I will say this: when a woman cheats, you best believe it's not about the sex. You best believe it's not about the sex when a woman cheats. And I will say that that's a very high percentage of women, right?
Yeah.
It's not about the sex. And I almost want to say that that's probably why men have a harder time taking a woman back that cheats rather than a woman taking a man back that cheats.
It's more mental for her.
Oh, yes, because there's an emotional
absolutely.
For me, when sex is involved, it's an emotional and almost spiritual act, right? Somebody else. A dude, y'all can go out there and y'all can have sex with anything as long as it got a hole between his legs. You can have one leg, one arm, whatever. I'm just saying, you guys don't have to have an emotional attachment or connection to have sex with somebody else, right?
We're gonna get to that.
Typically do, unless you're dealing with those women who they got their what was it that Eric Benet had? He said he was a sex something.
Not a sex addict.
Yes, a sex addict.
He's addicted to sex.
But so that's for me, Gino, that it's more of the feelings caused by the act, right? Because I can I understand already as a woman, you're not connecting with another female physically because of that, unless you are telling me that, yes, I love this person and there's some things that are missing from our relationship emotionally that you're looking for outside the relationship. But 8 to 9 times out of 10, when a woman is cheating, she's looking for an emotional connection that she's not getting.
This is true.
Let's get to the last comment, then we'll get to the final thoughts, and we'll talk about tops and bottoms and all that good stuff. Let's get back to Slash on. He's actually just said something.
He's so disrespectful.
Saying, can you fully grasp marriage inner workings if you haven't even been in one? because you can't comprehend the vast levels, emotions, time, sweat, equity, and possibility children involved.
Possibly
So
children.
pretty much what he's saying is, how you feel that you could actually speak on these type of things?
So I would say that everything is about preparation, right? Just because I haven't experienced certain things, you don't know how people prepare, right? You don't know how I'm preparing myself as a husband. You don't know what counseling I'm going to prepare myself to being a husband, right? What tools do I need, right?
Good comeback, brother.
So we can't say emphatically, yes, I agree that experience plays a part, but how you prepare yourself to give yourself those tools to get to that place speaks volumes.
I'm going to say this. I partly agree, but you're talking about things in theory. And there is a lot to be said when it comes to emotions and marriages and the bonds of marriage that you're only going to achieve through experience, because you can never predict what that other person is going to do, say, or feel after 10 years, 12 years, 20 years. And you don't know how you're going to be 10 to 20 years down. I didn't go into my marriage thinking that my spouse was going to get complacent, that my spouse was going to stop appreciating me, that my spouse was going to stop thinking that I was this wonder, just really valuing me as a wife and as a person and as the mother of their children.
Right.
But it happens. And that's why I say you just got to keep on living. And yes, you can go through all the marriage counseling, and that's really just a blueprint, all that stuff. But you don't know until you really actually go through that experience and really have an understanding of what it's like. Marriage is very different from any other type of relationship.
Right, but what I will ask you, this is my last question. What I ask you is that I agree with you. What I'm also saying too is that having, you never know what tools, you never know what things can throw your way. What I'm saying is, and there are some things that you can prepare for, there's some that you can't prepare for, right? What I said is that for me, I need to then be able to grow, because going to counseling is something that I've done every year for the past 3 years. So it's a constant thing it's a constant thing for me. Preparation, there's some, this is my last one. I couldn't prepare. This is where your point does make sense. I could not prepare when my dad passed. Right. I had no idea how to plan a funeral. I had no idea which direction to go and stuff like that. Luckily, now going through that experience, it's tough. No matter how well, to your point, no matter how well you're prepared for something, the experience is just going to be the experience.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a very good analogy. That is a very good.
And I could actually go a little further with that, since you brought up death. Mm-hmm. When my father passed away in 2010, took us all for a loop.
Yeah.
No one handled that. My brothers, no one handled that.
Yeah.
No one handled that at all. And here, my mother passed 2 years ago. Still, no one handled that.
Yeah.
We had the tools to take care of everything, make sure everything was done properly, but
still, it's hard.
It was hard. We were lost, completely lost. So I'm going to go back to what Shan was saying, how, man, some things you just have to experience.
Yeah.
You can't, foresee those things happening, and you just have to deal with them. That's the greatest teacher is life.
He said, ask all the people who prepared to fight Mike Tyson in his younger years. Everyone has experience.
I didn't even see the comment. I know exactly who said it. I didn't even see the
comment. Right there.
But you prepare for, I think part of preparation is, and I'll say this, I know we have to end, but I think part of preparation.
Now, we'll extend, because this is a good conversation.
Okay.
I think what we'll do is we'll extend it about 10 more minutes.
Okay.
Let's get the top to the bottom, then we get back into this wonderful conversation.
What I will say is that preparation, I think preparation early has to. I will say this: I couldn't be a senior analyst at my job if I didn't have the preparation, right? So I didn't just get the experience because I got the experience. I grew myself along the way, and I prepared myself for the role for that, right? If I'm running a 5K, and the way that I train here lately, the way that I've been training is instead of how I prepare for a 5K is I've been doing 1.5 times whatever the mileage is, right? So you want to go. So when it comes time for the actual factual, your body would have been prepared enough to go.
No. I'm glad you brought that up, and this is where I'm actually going to challenge that.
Okay.
I used to run 4 and 5 miles a day.
Right.
Every single day, 4 and 5 miles a day. Look where I ended up, in a wheelchair. I was not prepared for that. I thought I was fit Trent.
Right.
I could not prepare for what happened. I could prepare for the bleed on the brain.
Right.
I became suddenly, hold on a second.
I
became suddenly paralyzed in an instant. I'm talking about an instant. I used to run 4 and 5 miles a day. I thought I was eating healthy, doing everything I was supposed to do, but stress took me out. So you can't, certain things, that what I'm saying, Nick, certain things you cannot prepare for, man. You just have to experience them.
Right. But
like the reason why, the reason why I know that I was able to walk again, because of my mindset, because my mentality. I had to do it on the fly. I had to try and walk again on the fly. I couldn't see out of my left eye. I couldn't do any of that stuff, man. All of this stuff was new to me. I dealt with it as life brought. Whatever life threw at me, I took it. All those lemons, I took the lemons. All I was doing was gathering them up. Every time life threw me a lemon, I pick it up.
Oh, I thought you said women. Sorry.
Lemons. I'm talking about lemons.
Okay, sorry.
I'm at a serious moment. Hold on a second. Even when I'm talking about when I became paralyzed. So every single obstacle from everything thrown to me, I just grabbed the lemon and just kept on picking them up and carrying them, putting them in a bag.
Right.
Trying to work through it. You can't just pick up a book and say, how do I get over this blindness? How do I get over this paralyzed? I couldn't pick up a big book to do that. I couldn't do it. You can't, sometimes you have to experience life.
Yeah, sometimes you have to experience it, but also too, I agree with you there. Where I push back a little bit is I say, even though we have to experience it, our mind and how we see things can be altered from that. So I will say this, and I'm done with it, and I'll be done.
So what we'll do, Nick, we'll pick up on Wednesday. We'll pick up on Wednesday. Yeah, we'll pick up on Wednesday, same time, 7.
Oh, I won't be here on Wednesday. I'll be in New York.
Nick, you the reason we need to come back.
Well, I'm gonna be in New York. I'm gonna be trapping out. I'm just playing. But no, this is my last one. What I will say is that when it comes to I will say that the death of my dad was probably the lowest point I've ever been at in my life. And through a lot of grace, supportive friends, counseling, I eventually got myself up from that. So nothing else really, and that's a pain that cuts like so deep, and all of us have lost parents to understand that.
We're gonna leave the audience on this because I like what Gino just said. We're gonna leave the audience on this, and we're gonna pick up on this on Wednesday. But Gino says, Shannon, can you prepare for the hurt of being cheated on? Can you go to counseling to prepare to lose a parent?
No, on both counts.
We're gonna pick up back on this on Wednesday because that was very profound. We're gonna pick up on this on Wednesday, but this is real good stuff, man. Real good dialogue. Appreciate you both.
Thank you, Nick, for being such a good sport.
This is good
I'm just speaking my truth, man. I'm just speaking my truth.
One time for Tops and Bottoms for the sponsorship. Shan, just quickly tell folks what's going on with Tops and Bottoms and all that good stuff, and what's
the cookies are flying out the door. So tonight I just worked on some new ones, which I was eating in your face, where we say cookies to the face. And you got one of the new ones that I did, I think, last week. Yeah. So what are you eating on? This
is actually the macadamia nuts.
White say it right. Do it the right way. Don't be out there. Don't be out there messing with advertising. This white chocolate macadamia.
Okay, boss. White chocolate macadamia. Okay, good.
Get it together.
There you go. Good stuff. Real good cookie. Real good cookie. I love this cookie. Notice I said love. I didn't say like. I love this cookie.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Yeah, because you just ate your last one. I'm so glad. Thank you so much for being a customer. I'm so glad you enjoyed them. So, let me know when you're ready for your next one. I start tonight. Tonight, what I was working on was a white chocolate cherry cookie. Delicious.
Uh-oh.
I'm just saying. I amaze myself sometimes.
Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick up on this epic conversation, man. On
this was good.
Betrayal. This is real good.
You gotta come back. You gotta come back.
I'm being New York, man.
Work it out, dude. Prepare.
Really?
Hey, you can stream from your phone. So
I'm gonna be like in and out of the city. I'm gonna be like, I ain't gonna be like super stationary. So yeah,
it's all good. Well,
all
maybe
I hear is this.
Really?
Maybe I could patch you in just for a quick hot second, whatnot.
Yeah,
we'll get it done. But good stuff, man. Appreciate you guys, Mark, all you guys, Gino, all you guys, Mr. White, tuning in and interacting with us. So we really appreciate it. So on Wednesday we'll be back 7 Central, 8 Eastern for another conversation with Trent Company. Good stuff,
gentlemen.
From Conversations with Trent in conjunction with Taylor Kennedy Media and your radio network would like to thank you for calling in and listening to tonight's episode. We hope that tonight's conversation offended you just enough to turn your mirror inward to come back for more. So until next week's conversation, be epic.
Hey.